I'm going to show you one of my very favorite archery shooting drills to help make you a better archer. So this is a really good way to mix up your training. I actually did this quite a lot over the last 3 years of my professional career, and basically shot like this all the time, with the exception of needing to do different drills. That's when I would not do this drill, but otherwise I would almost always, every single time I was shooting archery, do this drill right here that I'm going to explain to you. And I found that it made me stronger, I had better stamina, I had better shot execution, and I was definitely a lot more confident under pressure, especially in windy or adverse conditions. It just really helps prep you for dealing with all those situations. So the drill itself, it is the 12 arrows in 4 minutes drill. That means you have 4 minutes to shoot all 12 arrows. The time starts with the arrow in your quiver, and you have to have that 12th arrow shot by the last second, basically. And the whole goal of it is to just be able to focus on your technique, your rhythm, and your timing. Let everything else happen and get all 12 arrows in within that 4-minute window. It's very challenging and it is a lot of fun, and you can get a lot of arrows in a very short period of time. Today I'm here at 70 meters, and that's where I'm going to be doing all my shooting today. I'm going to do one warm-up end just to kind of shake the cobwebs out, get sighted in here at the new place, and do 3 ends of 12 doing the 4-minute drill. So that way I'll shoot a 36 arrow round just for fun of it. This drill is really not easy and is actually very fun though. So there is a good benefit to that, and you're actually shooting. It's not like some of the other stuff that I've covered before, like the SPT videos, specific physical training about holding the bow back for a long period of time. This one's actually shooting your bow in a generally normalized situation for shooting archery. So if you haven't seen my other videos explaining SPT, I'll put links in the description below and a card at the top up there for the holding SPT. So you can check that out. There's also Power SPT and Flexibility SPT. Those other two I'll have links in the description below for you to check out. Those are really good tools to use in addition to this actual shooting drill to help make you a stronger and better archer. Now this drill is going to be very challenging for some. It's going to be extremely challenging for me today. I haven't shot pretty much at all, except for the last time I shot this setup at 70 meters. So, it's been a month, basically, give or take, and it's going to suck. I don't know why. Every time I pick to do these videos is when I haven't shot or, really been in shooting shape for quite a while. I basically have done this, or did do this, the last several years of my career nonstop. Doesn't matter if it was a recovery day or a heavy training day. Maybe a recovery day I wouldn't do it, but it eventually got to the point of where I felt extremely comfortable to shoot 12 arrows in 4 minutes and not really feel fatigued. I will here for sure today, but that's just part of it. So there's a lot more commentary that I'll be doing while I'm shooting, not necessarily while I'm actually shooting, because I have to grab the next arrow and go right into it. I don't have time to talk to you. I'm going to use the timer on my phone to keep me in my timing constraints, and I'll share with you a few strategies on how I've learned to manage this and how much benefit it's given me. So I'm going to start with just a practice end here. Like I said, I haven't shot in basically a month. I've already warmed up off camera, so I'm ready to go as far as that's concerned. But yeah, first arrow here at 70 meters at the new place. Actually, not too far off. I was expecting to hit a little low because at the old place it's a little downhill. Well, now that I'm not as protected from the wind, I guess I need to put a wind flag up, because I'm just going to have to aim in the middle the whole time today and not worry about where they're going necessarily. Just kind of making sure my clicker's set in the right place, because it's going to require a lot of effort to get them off quickly. Hopefully I have 12 arrows. What do I got? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Well, I'm going to have to shoot bear shafts at 70 meters to keep up with the timing and get them all in, because I only have a dozen arrows in my quiver and 3 of them are bear shafts, so plot twist. Hopefully this bow is as tuned as I think it is. Let's shoot one and find out. I think it'll work. Tuned enough. I never plan it that way, by the way. Never actually shoot bear shafts at 70, but when I do, they just land in the group. I don't know why, but that's how I end up tuning my bows at 30. They just happen to go in the group at 70. Which I suppose in theory means that I have too high of a knocking point slightly, because the vane shafts should be dragging more and hitting lower because of that, but I don't know. My bow's just always shot best this way, so. And I gotta get a knock, but that's 11 arrows. I wanna go pull them and tell you my strategy on how to deal with this time constraint that we're going to be working under. So what is the strategy on how to actually manage this time? Basically what I do is I go to the stopwatch, and you just start the stopwatch, grab your arrow and start shooting. That's how you start. Now what I do and what I strive for is every 20 seconds is when I am picking up to shoot. That gives me 20 seconds to shoot the actual arrow itself. So generally, it won't take 20 seconds to shoot the shot. But if you wait those 20 seconds and keep the timing consistent, you won't run out of gas so hard in the beginning and then have to kind of recoup and never really be able to recoup by the end of the end. So just like this, setting the timer, setting it in my release pouch down here in my quiver, and propping it up so I can see the timing, and every 20 seconds I grab another arrow. Now there are times where I can shoot it faster, but that's when I was in the best shape that I've been in as far as shooting is concerned. So that's definitely not going to happen today. I'm going to barely be able to keep my shot together as it is, because this timing is really quick, and like I said, being completely out of shooting shape like I am, it is going to be challenging. And I'll start a timer as well, so you can see what I'm seeing, so that way you'll know the kind of progression of the shots that I'm doing. So I'm starting the timer right now. So like I said, I've got 4 minutes to shoot these 12 arrows. So you can see I only had a second to wait. But now, because I had some time, now I can wait 8 seconds, take a breather, check where it went. Get up. So if you really stick to the 20-second time window and time sequence, it's not so bad. but I'm only 4 arrows in. Just really committing to that transfer and really committing to executing the shot how I've been talking about. That way it's nice and quick. This one has a different knock, has a damaged vein as well. No difference. Whew. Looks like I'm gonna make it. Alright, so I did it with 12 seconds to spare, basically. Whew. This definitely is requires a little bit of fitness compared to just shooting arrows. You know, the Olympic style recurve shooters would have a little hard time shooting this fast. Instinctive shooters and traditional shooters, definitely not so much. Although their bow weights sometimes can be heavier. I think I would struggle doing this with bare bow, just because of the crawl, but I think I could still manage. It just wouldn't be, you know, have that opportunity to pause in between arrows. It would just be a continual movement, and I'll probably try that just to see how it goes. Compounds definitely would struggle to try to do this unless you're like a puncher, which wouldn't be ideal for the most part, but you know, this is definitely a challenging drill. I'm genuinely out of breath because, like I said, I haven't shot in a while, and even when I did this, when I was in full shape, it's still like my cardiovascular system was the thing that hurt the most. Now, how often would I do this? In the beginning, I did it once to twice a week, but I ended up liking the rhythm and the cadence of shooting an arrow every 20 seconds, that it was very comfortable, and I ended up liking it a lot, and it felt a lot like team rounds. You know, you just get up there and you get the shot off. There is no opportunity to let down. There's no chance and no option for doing that. And you just got to make it happen. I did also see a benefit from this that had nothing to do with stamina and strength, but it was the ability to shoot 12 arrows easily in practice and competition. Every practice end, when I had 4 minutes to shoot, I'd shoot at least 12 arrows. Sometimes I'd shoot as many as 14, depending on the type of tournament it was and depending on how good I felt, but I would have to actually slow down and choose to not shoot so many arrows because it wasn't a race. But it was a good side benefit to doing this drill because, you know, practice is very limited depending on what tournament you're shooting in and where. So being able to shoot this many arrows in practice comfortably gives you an advantage because it gives you way more arrows to warm up with and way more arrows to sight in with, and you'll start fresher sooner in the tournament. Okay, so I shot a 113 with 3 bare shafts and a torn vein. I'm sure going to be making some individuals happy out there shooting these at that distance, but I've done it before. Second end of 12 here. 4 arrows in 12 minutes. I wish. 12 arrows in 4 minutes. Start. You might have been able to start with the arrow in the bow. I don't remember. This is where not being too careful and having good tension and direction really helps. Yeah. Whew. Three, four, five, six. So I'm ahead of myself. Missed a little transfer on that one. And as promised, my form starts falling apart. It's not easy. Whew. Last one. So I got it done with a few seconds left, but you can tell my group has opened up a little bit and has shifted slightly, a little bit to the left. And, you know, my form's getting a little sloppy, timing slowing down a little bit. So what it's really showing me, and this is kind of hopefully what you'll be able to find at home too, is you'll find your faults a lot quicker this way. So I don't think that I'm taking enough of that mental step of transfer, really committing, feeling like, all right, I've settled in and go. And I'm just not quite doing that enough. So I mentioned that in the middle of that end, or towards the end of that end, and made an adjustment the last few arrows, and the shots felt much better. Even though I was fatigued, I was able to actually make those shots better than earlier in the end, even when I was less fatigued. So it just is bringing something to light that I really should be focusing on some more. And now I have a little thing I can focus on my own, self-coaching. And that's what's really important to become a proficient archer, is to be able to coach yourself through changes and notice when you're missing out on a little bit and when you need to do things a little bit better. So I'm gonna go pull those arrows and do it one more end, and we'll see how it goes. Whew. Hot and humid here in Florida. Absolutely need my secret weapon again. Again, if you haven't heard me talk about it before, and you live in a sweaty environment, or you deal with sweaty palms and sweaty hands, rosin powder. I'll have links in the description below for that. It is the only thing to use, in my opinion. I like climbing chalk is all right, but it dries my skin out a little bit too much. Last end, I shot a 108 that past one, so 113, 108. Gotta have the phone ready for the timer. I'm gonna start with the arrow and the bow this time, because I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So excuse me, I gave you the wrong rules. So you can start with the arrow and the bow. And timing starts now. Much better on that one. Really taking that transfer to feel it. Whew. I don't know where these flies are coming from, but they're challenging me. Really taking that blind faith commitment to the execution how I want it, and then driving it in with that bow arm. Oof. Limb creaked on that one, threw me off or something. I don't know what that was. Felt like the clicker was clicking. Now I don't have any time. Crap. Whew. When you get behind, there's no way to recoup it. Oh, last one. Barely made it. Of course, I had a letdown when I told you you absolutely shouldn't. And that's why. So once you get behind, you can't catch up. I mean, you can. It just becomes so hard. And it gives you so little time to take those mental steps that you need. But it forces you to. I mean, you have to. Otherwise, you're not getting the shot off and you're not going to score halfway decent, you know, or you're not going to have a halfway decent result. I mean, surprisingly, that one's pretty good. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 112. So, despite having to let down and rush the shots and force shots and make it happen, because, you know, you got to get it in within that 4-minute time window, you can still shoot all right as long as you have a good focus, a good basis, a good foundation to fall back on when you come under stress, like a timing constraint. You can still manage your technique. You can still manage to shoot shots halfway decent. When these flies are flying around bothering me and trying to bite me, it doesn't really bother me. The timing is way more important. The consistency is way more important. The form is way more important. You know, there's so many things that this teaches you that you can't really get with any other thing other than actually shooting in tournaments. And that only happens every so often. And with COVID, not very often at all, or at least not often enough in a lot of the world. So this is very challenging. It's very hard. It's extremely beneficial. And it makes a huge difference in your ability to manage time, your ability to manage the time that's given to you, and you should be able to recover like I did and recoup when mistakes are needed and you have to get the shots off quick and have to make things happen because you have no other option. Like maybe there's huge wind gusts or something that's happening and you have a time constraint because of that, or you're in team rounds and your teammate lets down. Now you have a lot less time. Things like that. It allows you to get some more benefit from your actual shooting. In addition to just shooting, you're training a whole lot differently. You know, you're using different techniques and constraints to put pressure on yourself. And then your job is to try to maintain your form, your technique, your timing, your perspective, and all of that despite whatever challenge is coming at you. This wasn't easy for me. You know, I really struggled the last 2 ends. The first end was okay and not very difficult as far as timing is concerned. But these last 2 definitely were challenging. I was shaken and struggling and had a lot of excess tension that I really shouldn't have. And when I'm in my peak of form and consistency and of strength and things like that, I don't have that feeling of, oh, I'm a little tense. You know, my muscles are just starting to build up, not necessarily lactic acid, but something along those lines. And it really just kind of shows you what you really need to work on. So anyway, I figured I'd torture myself again because I hadn't shot in a while, so I needed some punishment to get me back to shooting. And I figured, heck, might as well go for it and really punish myself today on camera. But it actually was all right. I shot 113, 108, and 112, so that is 9 points up on a 324, so that's a 333. It's pretty consistent for me. That's right in that range that I usually shoot. You know, so not bad for haven't shot in a whole month and forcing myself to get these shots off really quick.